You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Burke. In today's episode, I'm sharing a recent conversation with Carla Jung, Vice President of Sales, Coronary and Renal Denervation at Medtronic, in our special series on mentoring. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. I have a special treat for you today. We are starting a new series specific to mentoring as we look to amplify mentoring, with January being Mentoring Month. And you know I am a huge fan of mentoring, and I am so excited to share all of the folks with you in this series. And today we are starting with Carla Jung. Carla is the Vice President of Sales, Coronary and Renal Denervation for Medtronic. Her career spans many divisions and positions, which you will hear about when she introduces herself. And we talked about not only the importance of and how mentoring has been so important in her life, but also the importance of knowing your why, making sure you know who is in your lifeboat, your professional boat, how you can make mentoring easy, and the importance of giving back, and also being willing to make lateral moves through your career, something she is super passionate about talking about. It was a privilege to speak to Carla, and I hope you are able to find the gems in this episode that work for you. So without further ado, please take a listen. Okay, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be so much fun. Can you maybe start by just introducing yourself in a way that works for you, sharing all of the goodness that you see fit?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Thanks for having me on. When I thought about my introduction, I had to work backwards. I am a daughter to Eileen and George Jung, my parents. My dad was a Xerox salesman, so he inspired me to go to sales. I am a twin sister. I have one sibling, to Mia Jung, and Mia is in the private equity space. We both grew up in this healthcare world together, and she's one of my best friends. She's a mentor to me. I am a wife to my husband, Jason, and Jason is also in the healthcare space. He works at another healthcare company, but we actually met selling pacemakers and defibrillators. So he was former military, and he brings out all the good moral compass in our family. I'm a mom to my son, I should start with my daughter, Anna Grace. She is 15 years old. She's a sophomore in high school. And my little guy, Landon, who's not so little anymore, he's 11 years old. I'm a friend. I love having friendships from childhood to college to raising kids. I'm a collector and a keeper of all friends from different stages in my life, because I feel like they unlock certain aspects of who I am as a person. I am a mentor and a mentee to many, constant learner. So I definitely value and treasure all the people that I mentor, and then also who I'm a mentee to. And I'm a vice president of sales to an organization of about 150 people. I feel grateful every day that someone put me in that position, that I get to lead the troops and help to support their success and tackle any challenges that are in their way. And so that's who I am.
I love that. I always joke because I say there are not many people that grow up and say they want to be in sales. So here you are. I think
Yeah,
that's so much fun.
I know. I thought, my dad told me when I was 3, told me and my twin sister, Mia, you're destined for sales. Because I was like, well, I want to be an astronaut. And Mia was like, I want to be a doctor. And he's like, nope, you girls are going into sales. And we knew at that time we didn't want to sell copy machines. God bless selling copy machines. It's awesome. But I knew that it put me through college. I knew that I had a passion for helping patients live healthier lives, and have always had that passion. So that's why I ended up going into sales and did pharmaceuticals, and then 23 years in medical devices, and feel so lucky that I found this industry, because not a lot of people know about it. And that's one of the reasons why I love helping people to raise awareness to this incredible industry that we're all in.
It is, and it really is like a ripple effect that we make, and I think it's so important. And another theme I kind of hear you talking about is like the importance of connection, like whether it be your friends, your family, your employees. Like that's so much fun. And this is a series specific to mentoring, which you also mentioned. So, can you maybe talk a little bit about why you think it's so important, and also a little bit about your journey? Because having the position that you're in, I imagine there's must have been mentors along the way to help.
Oh, yeah. And this is such a great week to do this, the week of Thanksgiving, because I'm so filled with gratitude always for people who have supported me and helped me to along this journey. But I think mentoring is so important. Sean Salmon actually had said this, and I think he borrowed this from somebody else, but it resonates with me. You learn it, you earn it, and you return it in life.
I love
And I love that because I believe that as you move into different positions, whether it's a lateral move or whether it's up, as you get more experienced and tenured in your career, I think it should be in the job description that you help people along the way in the organization. And I have been lucky to have had so many mentors, and I'll get that to that in a second. But I just feel like I'm filled with gratitude. I've had a long journey, 23 years. It's been ups and downs. It hasn't been, straight up a ladder. It's been more of a jungle gym and lots of lateral moves. And I've loved every minute. And I just feel like if I can help somebody learn from, what I've done, whether they're successes or mistakes, I would, it just, that fills my cup, fills my soul, because I feel like 23 years is a long time. And I just want to be able to help people to get to where they want to go.
it.
So go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, continue on, please. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do want to come back to you because I think what you mentioned is so important, the opportunity to make lateral moves too. So we'll come back to that. I know there are specific mentors you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, I love that topic too. That could be a whole other podcast, Michelle.
Right.
I'm like, stop looking at straight up the ladder, start looking side by side. But I'll get to that question in a second to keep us on track. Yes, I have, in my family, because my husband was military, we say to our kids all the time, who's in your lifeboat? Who's in your lifeboat? Like, who sits in your lifeboat? Who do you surround yourself with? Because that really shapes you. And you might have a personal lifeboat, you might have a professional lifeboat. I feel like at this point in my career, I have one big lifeboat that I'm lucky to have, not just my family, but friends and professional mentors in that lifeboat. And the reason why I came to Medtronic, quite honestly, 12 years ago, was there was a woman who's still at Medtronic. Her name is Pam Ritzboren. And she reached out to me and said, hey, I would love for you to come and consider a role at Medtronic in the pacing space. And I said, I've been in the pacing space for 11 years and I love, love, love the experience that I've had. I'm really interested in structural heart and I'd love to dust off my brain. Love to learn something different and something new. And I loved my experience in the pacing space, but I just was extremely curious about structural heart and transcatheter valves. And she offered me a job in the cardiac surgery division. And I looked up to her as a mentor because I thought, well, first of all, I was surrounded at my previous company with only male leaders. I don't know, we might have had one female leader, but I knew that I wanted to continue my journey. I think I was a good sales rep. I always made my number, but I think what really fulfills me as an individual and as a person is leading a team, because my goal has always been to leave a team in a better place than when I got there, from a performance standpoint, but also a cultural standpoint. So when I looked at Pam, I said, wow, she's an incredible leader. She's a mom. There was so much that I identified with her that I said, all right, I'm coming on board. And she is a strong mentor. One of the mentors that really had a big impact on my career was Mike Mathias. I was a manager for so long and helped to build out the structural heart team. And when the time came for us to split the country and add directors, I didn't put my name in. I wasn't thinking about putting my name in for that job. And he called me and he said, you need to put your name in to be considered for this role. And I was like, oh, I've got a son. I've got a daughter who's 3 or 4. I've got a son who's just born. not the right time. I can't do it. I had doubt in myself. I really didn't think I could do it. I was like, well, what does a director do? I didn't
Mm.
know. And he believed in me, and he told me, you need to make an impact on more people than your direct team right now. And that was the first person that really pulled me up and said, I believe in you. You can do this. You may have some gaps in skill sets here, but what you have is hard to learn and train. And that's, so anyway, I really will always value that conversation that I had with him, because I almost didn't, because I worried about, am I going to be there for my kids? I'm going to be traveling. I'm a wife. For me, leading teams is it's a big responsibility. You invest in these people that work in your organization. You care about them, you help them, you support them, and that takes a lot of time and energy. So I was concerned about that, and I'm so appreciative to this day. I tell him all the time that he had faith in me and saw something that he felt that I could do the job.
Oh, that's so nice. And we just came back from Women in Leadership,
Oh,
and they talked about that, the inner critic that we all have. And it's so great to be able to have that person who will believe in you and kind of push you to believe in yourself.
yeah, yeah, it's true. It puts a spotlight on you a little bit and makes you really think about, you also obviously have to have a really good support system around you. I mean, I'm lucky. I've got an incredible husband and parents that live here. So, without that aspect, it might have been a little bit more difficult for me to make a decision to take a new position where I'm required to fly a lot. But
Mm.
because I do have that support system at home, once I made up my mind, and then I did the job, and I thought that's a whole other podcast, Michelle. The transitions between jobs, I did it wrong. So we'll talk about that later. But I definitely, as I've got moved into different positions, I haven't always had the easiest transitions. So that's what I love to help people with, is through those transitions. They're tricky.
Yeah. And so a couple things. Do you, I'm guessing based on kind of where we are at with the conversation, you still have mentors in your life?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love having mentees, because I feel like I get so much out of those relationships that hopefully that they get from me. That's not guaranteed, but I also seek out mentors all the time. I like to look and see, okay, I love what I'm doing for 5, 10 years. What interests me? What skill sets do people have that I really admire, that I want to learn? Because I think that will make me better. And I'll look at people and I'll watch them and see who's masters in their craft. And I'll reach out to them and say, I love how you answered that question. Or I really appreciate that strategy that you just rolled out. And you know, the I want to learn from you. So anybody, I'm obsessed with surrounding myself with people better than me. And so when I see somebody, I'll reach out to them and say, hey, loved how you answered that question. I saw you present. Love to understand who you are, how you got to that point, because I'd really like to learn how to do that myself.
Think, mentoring can look a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And when we were at this meeting, people were talking about like not really knowing what is to be expected. So
Yeah.
if you're starting relationships, I guess as the mentee or the mentor, whichever one or both, whichever one you want to kind of speak to, since you have done both, what are some like best practices that you might give someone who's just starting out?
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is a great question. And I think that, I've been lucky because I've been in a lot of different organizations. I think I've touched maybe 6 cardiovascular organizations. So I've been able to be around a lot of people, and which is great for me because I seek mentorship all the time, and I've had access to some incredible leaders. So I think that I almost think of it as starting backwards. Like, why do you want to mentor? Are you looking for career advice? Are you looking, to move from a commercial function into a marketing function? Are you looking to change operating units to understand a different cycle of a product, a medical device product? Are you looking to for just leadership or guidance? And I think when you work backwards and you really understand the why behind why do you want to mentor, that helps to figure out who to reach out to. Because I think it's important to be specific. And some people call and say, hey, I need a mentor. Okay. Me too. Why? what about me? Like, I want to make sure that your time's valuable. If you're reaching out to me that you want me to mentor you, first of all, it doesn't have to be so official either. It can just be, I'll reach out to people on LinkedIn or even in the organization and say, hey, I heard you on that podcast. That was amazing. Like, I just like to learn from you. And that's not me officially saying, making it super official, like, will you be my mentor? It's just something about them that inspired me that I want to learn from about them. So I think, a couple things. I think understanding what you're looking for. If someone calls me, I want to know how I think we all want to help, but I want to understand, how I can help. And like I said, everybody's time is valuable. And I want to make sure that I'm if they're giving me a half an hour of their time and asking me to mentor them, like, what specifically are we tackling? I also think it's important too, because everyone's looking for a mentor. I think it's important to be memorable. And I think that if you're a mentor, to your mentee who might have limited time and might have a lot of people seeking mentorship, I think making it mutually beneficial, because I think mentors and mentees, like I said to you, I get as much, if not more, out of my relationships with people that call me and ask me for advice. So I think that mutually beneficial, like if someone that I mentor sends me these articles all the time on running, I love running. And they'll be like, hey, I saw you're training for the marathon. It's coming up in a couple weeks. Here's a great article. And I'm like, God, that's special. So that makes you memorable too, right? So
Yeah.
mutually beneficial, understanding the why, be prepared when you're talking to somebody too, especially if they're in a position of influence and you're asking them to advocate for you. Make sure that your conversations, they don't need to be super structured or rigorous, but making sure that they're a good use of both of your time. And it's not just, talking about the weather and what are you doing? And, you know, so I think those are probably some of the important qualities that I would articulate if you're asking for a mentor.
Yeah, I think that's so great. I feel like that takes a lot of pressure off of people to not feel like it has to be, when you say not so structured,
Yeah.
like just reaching out, because I think sometimes people are afraid, especially at the levels of which you are at, right? To be reaching out and asking you, and they're maybe intimidated, but maybe if it came from a mindset of curiosity and that mutually beneficial connection, it might not be so intimidating.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think it's important, not to put all your eggs in one basket. Have a bunch of people. You don't need to just say, I've got one mentor. I reach out to people all the time. And again, I don't make it so it's like, I just feel like, whether I read an article that they wrote or I talked to somebody in their organization who said that they do something really special to recognize their people. Like I said, I reach out to people all the time and say, I heard you did this. Can we just have a discussion? And then when we're getting off the phone, I'll say, can I keep in touch with you? You're someone that inspires me. You're someone that I can learn from. Do you mind if, I call it pleasant persistence, if I keep in touch with you or if I text you and if you have time that we can informally connect about, how I can be the best version of myself as a leader.
Oh, I love that so much. And I feel like it's just being a normal human being, right? And
Yeah.
wanting to help each other. It doesn't have to be so, because I've been involved in mentoring programs where it's like every 6 weeks we'll have a call for X amount of time. But if it's just this, like, hey, I'm going to reach out, because on the flip side, I have mentors, like you said, reading books, podcasts, like they don't even know they're my mentor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what you're saying, as far as like reaching out to everyone and knowing your why and knowing where you want to go, kind of leads us back to the question or the conversation about the lateral moves, because there might be opportunities to find those mentors in different areas. I remember when I first started with Medtronic and I, Google searched the questions to ask on an interview and, like, how do you get promoted up the, career ladder? And they said, it's not a ladder at Medtronic, it's an umbrella, because there are so many different opportunities for you here. So maybe can you speak, like, if someone is listening and you're their mentor, like what would you tell them about the importance of being willing to take those lateral moves?
Yeah. I'm so passionate about this topic, Michelle. I can't even tell you how many times I've given this advice, but again, it's advice that worked for me. Right. So it's not going to work for everybody, but I do feel like a lot of conversations I have are around promotions, which is great. But I think that we should think about promotions in a different way sometimes, because the promotions into certain levels are hard. There's, a million. The great thing about Medtronic is we have unbelievable people here. right? So for one promotion, there might be 30 candidates. And if you don't get it, you start to think, oh gosh, what's wrong with me? Do I not have the skill set? No, you're probably incredible, but you're against 29 other incredible people. And, for whatever reason, that person got the job. And I, I didn't do this intentionally, but I have been a first line district manager in 3 different businesses. So I was in the pacemaker business at a previous company. I came here. I was a district manager in the cardiac surgery business. And then I moved to structural heart. And those, to me is a promotion because I moved from a mature business where I worked for a leader, a certain type of leader. Then I moved to cardiac surgery, which was a mature business, but I had to realign a team so that they weren't teammates. I had to realign them so they were siloed individual contributors. So that was a great experience working in an operating unit, learning the cardiac surgery business. And then I moved over to transcatheter valves at, again, a lateral move, but I built a team from scratch. So all of these were a collection of experiences working on different teams at a different point in time in a different business where maybe we had falling average selling prices, or maybe we were about to launch a technology and I had to work with marketing, or maybe it's just figuring out how to manage inventory in a business that was mature. So they were all such different experiences from a product cycle standpoint, from who I reported to. So I feel like I am a collection of all the leaders that I've ever worked for, and a little bit, a lot of bit about myself. But those experiences that I had working in different operating units, working for different leaders, working with different teams, all helped to prepare me for the position that I'm in now. So to me, when I call it a lateral move across being a district manager in 3 different businesses, they were promotions in my mind. So I think that it's important for people, if they're in a job and they've been doing it for a long time and they keep looking for that promotion, start thinking about a lateral move. Because maybe you just need to dust off your brain a little bit. Maybe you need to work in a different business. Maybe you need to work around different people. And I think that when you think like that, it opens the world up to a lot of different opportunities that you may not have thought of.
Yeah, I feel like that idea of the promotion is kind of in line with the evolution of you as the leader being able to get all of those skill sets and learn from those people, and having that be kind of like, sounds corny, but like a promotion in your life, right? Like how much does
Yes.
that expand you as a person?
Yes. Yeah, completely. You just articulated it in a much better way than I did, Michelle.
I love it. It's so, so good because I listened the first time you talked about that. I'm like, I think she's talking to me.
Oh,
So-
I say it like every day. I think I talk to one person a day where I'm like, okay, promotions are great, but how are you thinking about promotion? Like I look at it, it's like we're just learning. We're all here to learn. And, I feel like when I stop learning, that's when I get stagnant. And so yeah.
I could not agree more. I'm like, when we stop learning, I feel like we are in trouble because then we stop evolving. So that's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Have we missed anything? This has been so helpful.
Let's see. Oh, I think one of the questions was, I told you that it gives me oxygen to mentor
Yes, I
people.
love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's my corny way of saying I love helping people. And I saw a sign. I was heading to Boston a couple years ago, and there was a sign that I took a picture of, and it says, "Call me crazy, but I like to see other people happy and succeeding. Life is a journey, not a competition." And I think about that all the time. Like, gosh, if we all could feel that way and be authentic about that. I really love I love listening to people's stories. I love understanding where they want to go, and I like connecting them to people that are in my network to help them get to where they want to go. Then my job's done. Once you tell me what you want to do and I've helped and connected you, I love seeing the people that just knock the door down and have taken any advice or taken the connections and listened to them and learned, and taken that next position or been able to figure out where they want to go. And it really fills my cup. It's probably one of the things, especially as I get older, you just learn, like, that's your legacy. One day I'm going to be retired and I'm going to be so excited watching all these people that I've hopefully been part of their career journey move on and do really
Absolutely.
well.
And I love that you use that quote because I will often see something similar about it not being a competition. I'm like, I don't know, I'm in sales. Should I actually like that? Because
Yeah.
like we have to be competitive. So I love that you shared that. I think it's so important to recognize like helping others is so important. And I also think like when you are retired and have your legacy and you think about the people in their positions that they helped, especially in this industry, think about the patients that have then been helped
Oh
by
yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
And their families.
Yeah. I know. I couldn't agree with you more. We have the most passionate, excited, enthusiastic sales force in my organization. And with the approval of Simplicity Spiral to be able to give them this catheter and this generator and for them to train their physicians on how to help all these patients with uncontrolled hypertension. I get teary eyed every time I think of it. It's just awesome. So,
So cool.
yeah.
Thank you so much. How can people, is the best way to connect with you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah, LinkedIn's great. Yeah, typically email. I feel bad. I've definitely become one of those people that I used to get annoyed with. I'm like, why are they not answering my email? Um, and now I'm like a little bit underwater lately. But yeah, LinkedIn's a great place to reach out to me. I feel like that's been probably one of the more impactful tools that I've been able to use and connect with people.
Perfect. They should start by sending their running articles, is what I take away.
Yes, yeah, I'm doing the St. Jude Marathon.
Is
Gosh,
that the
next.
December 2nd one?
Yeah, that's for
Oh,
Alexander, my Christy Brown, one of talk about gosh mentoring and someone that is memorable. She's a great success story.
it's
But
amazing.
yeah, she's unbelievable. She's pretty special. So
And I think people can still, so this will probably air after that, but I feel like they can still donate to St. Jude even after the fact of the marathon, correct?
yeah, yep, yeah. Christy she's very active on social media, so she's got some links for Rally Foundation, which her husband Matt is very involved in, and then the St. Jude Foundation. We have a running team. I think she's got 50 people that are running down in Memphis, so it should be a really really fun event. I'm excited.
Yes. I can, and it's such an amazing cause. I will be doing it virtually, but I will be doing like a 5K. I think we have
Oh,
a
that's great.
course, and I'm like, I'm going to do it before our course that weekend because I do think it's so important to raise awareness and to help, yeah, the
Yeah,
cause.
they're a special family. Thanks for doing that, Michelle.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, wasn't that great? My takeaways are number one, go for it. Don't be so worried about people being in higher positions. Bring your requests with the following. Number one, know your what and your why. What do you want to accomplish from this relationship? And why is this one specifically important to you? Number two, how can you bring value? And number three, where can you find curiosity and what they have to offer? And as a side note, extra value add to the conversation. Again, be open to lateral moves. So many gems in this. I really hope you found something that works for you. Okay, friends, that's what I have for you today. Let's meet back here for the next episode, but for now, make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.